Good afternoon and welcome to this week's episode of the Legal Beagle podcast. We are in the Legal Beagle headquarters, not to be confused with the Legal Beagle library, which still has not been sponsored. So if you're interested, let me know and maybe we can work something out. We are continuing our limited series on getting to know Negretti and Associates, kind of a peek behind the curtain. And this week I want to talk about a couple of things that I think are important to understand. One, the cases that we handle, the types of cases that we handle, because we call ourselves a full service personal injury firm. Not everyone does this, and I want to explain the differences. And then the states where we practice law, which is also important to understand because not all attorneys are licensed in multiple states. And it could be necessary for you to have an attorney licensed in the state where the accident occurred. And I want to give you some hypotheticals where that may apply. So let's start with the cases that we handle. This is, again, a section on our website, very detailed, gives you a lot of information about the different types of cases that we handle. But not all law firms handle the same types of cases. And let me back up for just a second. I'm a firm believer that when you are a jack of all trades, then you are a master of none. And what I mean by that is when you do all different types of law, how can you be completely proficient in just one area of law? So we only do personal injury. Now, personal injury in and of itself is a very big category of law, but we don't do DUIs. We don't do bankruptcies. We don't do divorces. We only do injury law. The reason I say we're full service is because there are some people that work in personal injury that just do auto accident claims. There are some people who just do medical malpractice. There are some people who just do product liability claims. We do all of them and have been lucky enough to be proficient in all the areas that we practice in that relate to personal injury. Dog bites, diminished value claims, rideshare accidents, slip and fall cases, e-scooter accidents. If you have a case that ends up involving an injury, we're most likely to be involved. However, that said, there are a lot of people that get injured at work, and those become workplace injury claims or what we call workers' compensation claims. We don't do that. That's an entirely different area of injury work that we do not do. We have some really good recommendations, referrals, people that we would send you to that do that work, but we don't do that work. So I guess the end result of that is we know where our lane is and we stay in that lane, right? Our lane is personal injury. We do all things in personal injury. But there's another distinction that you should be aware of. And that distinction is whether or not the law firm that you're working with also does both the pre-litigation work as well as the litigation work. Now, let me explain the difference there. Pre-litigation is you're injured in some way, auto accident, slip and fall, dog bite, medical malpractice, product liability, e-scooter, diminished value. You have an injury, right, that you're looking to recover for. There are some attorneys that only do the work up until the lawsuit is filed. And there are attorneys that do the work only after the lawsuit is filed. We do both. So we'll handle your claim from the beginning, do our very best to try to get it resolved for you. If it makes sense that we resolve it, you're involved in that process. It's a team effort. You're part of that team. Then we resolve the case. If we cannot resolve the case, then we have to file a lawsuit on the case. We handle your case all the way from the start through the conclusion of your case. There are law firms that don't do that. And I would urge you as a potential client to check with the law firm that you're working with and make sure they do this work. Because if they say, oh, yeah, we'll file your lawsuit, ask them, do you handle our case if a lawsuit is filed, or do you guys give it out to another attorney? Because now you have to learn a different law firm. You have to learn or meet a different attorney. You have to kind of understand their style. You have to retell your story. It's different than working with the same attorney or the same law firm all the way through your case. So it's just something you should be aware of. Another big issue is whether or not your lawsuit can be filed or even can be handled by an attorney if they're not licensed in the state where the accident occurred. We're licensed in 3 states. So we're licensed in Arizona, Colorado and that was really bad. Arizona, Colorado, and California. Those are our 3 states. We have an office in Phoenix, we have an office in Denver, and we have an office in San Diego. As you guys know, all 3 of those states are very big, California being the largest. You could go from Southern California all the way to Northern California, and things change drastically as it relates to the cases that are handled, the jury pools that may be impacting those cases, the courts and how they require filings. We've filed cases all throughout California, but our central office is down our satellite office is down in San Diego, California. So I want to pivot back to the cases we handle, talk a little bit about this work, why we do the work that we do, and then we're going to finish up with just a few hypotheticals about the states where we practice and why you might find yourself in a situation where you need an attorney who is licensed in a different state. Because every state requires its own license. It's not as if you become an attorney and you can just practice everywhere. It doesn't work that way. You have to be licensed in every state where you practice law. So again, Arizona, California, and Colorado for us. Back to the accident claims. If you go to our website, back up. They're not accident claims, they're injury claims. If you go to our website and you click on the cases we handle drop down, you're going to see a lot of different cases, and we're going to give you information about the types of cases that we handle, from motor vehicle cases to diminished value claims, rideshare, electric scooters, slip and fall, dog bites, product defects, and medical malpractice. I want to talk a little bit about each one. Your auto accident claims, or what we call crash claims, are pretty easy to understand, right? You're driving down the road and someone hits you, you're not at fault, and you get injured, and then there's a claim. But there's really 2 claims in that situation. There's a claim for you and your bodily injuries, how you got hurt or any of your passengers. And then there's a claim for the damage to your vehicle. That's a property claim. It still falls under the umbrella of a motor vehicle crash claim. So you want to make sure that when you're thinking about who to hire, or when you're working with a particular law firm, ask them if they help you recover for your property claim. It's important because not all attorneys do that. And you want to make sure that if you're going to go through that exercise of hiring an attorney and you're going to have this relationship with your attorney, that they're going to help you and guide you each step of the way. We do not take a fee on the property work we do, with one exception. And I'll explain that in a second. The property work we do is really geared towards getting the client back the money they lost as a result of the accident. And a lot of times their own policy will cover that, and then the opposing party's insurance will pay back your insurance, and the party who made the claim will get their deductible back. We're usually guiding people, steering people, giving them information, helping them along the way, but we don't take a fee. So we try to stay involved, but not so involved that everything's got to route through us, because if that were to happen, then you don't get the full benefit of the recovery on your property damage, which is really just to put your vehicle back in the position it was before the accident, or in the alternative, declare it a total loss and give you a payoff for the vehicle. We could dive into that subject and talk for hours on it, but hopefully if you have unfortunately found yourself in that situation, the hope is that you found an attorney that will help you with that and guide you along the way and give you good information. The exception in that is diminished value claims. We have become pretty proficient at diminished value claims over the last few years. There's a lot of information on our website. We actually have a video that is private that we don't release to the public, but as clients have information, it's like a 30-minute video that walks you through all the different scenarios of a diminished value claim and how to get the best possible recovery for yourself in the event that you have a diminished value loss. A diminished value loss is a situation where your vehicle is damaged in a auto crash and it's now worth less because of that crash history on the Carfax report or any other report that may be pulled as it relates to your vehicle. You can recover for that difference in addition to getting the full value of the repairs back. So your vehicle could be repaired and you still get to recover for that loss without having to sell your vehicle. There's a lot of misconceptions out there, so we try to dispel those. And it's work that we really do to help the consumers that work with us, the clients that become engaged with our law firm, because to me, it's disappointing that the insurance industry has chosen to fight these claims and not pay fairly for the losses that people experience. I mean, if you're driving, let's say, a newer model Mercedes-Benz and it gets hit, I'm not going to go out and buy your repaired Mercedes-Benz without a big discount if it has a crash history on it. And so you should get to recover for that. And that's what diminished value claims are. So if you have any questions, spend a little time on our website, call us. We'll point you to that private video that we have that will give you even more in-depth information that you can use and then hopefully get your claim resolved. If we end up taking that claim and handling it, we do take a fee on that because of the added work that is required to handle those claims. Rideshare accidents, exactly what it sounds like. Uber, Lyft, any rideshare, you're a passenger, you get hit, or you're a driver and you get hit by another vehicle, you don't cause the accident, we can help with those claims. Electric scooter claims, these have exploded in the last few years where you see these Bird and Lime and different companies that have put these scooters out on sidewalks and then people ride them around having no training, no proper safety equipment, and then get in a wreck and get severely injured. We help with those claims. We do slip and fall claims. These can happen in all different ways and all different manners. We've, I think, run the gamut on the types of slip and fall claims that you can possibly have, but it doesn't mean that we've exhausted all possibilities. We simply have a really good proficiency as it relates to slip and fall. Dog bites, again, self-explanatory, right? Dog bites you and you get injured. There's recovery for that through the laws in Arizona, California, and Colorado. Product defect claims is an area of law where we've spent a lot of time. We had a case that lasted 5 years suing a host of people related to a vehicle where the airbag didn't deploy when it should have. And I think there's a really good blog post on our website to read more about that case specifically and the work we did. But it was a mountain of work and a long journey to get to a resolution, but we did it, and the client is doing much better because of it. And then finally, medical malpractice. Again, that sounds pretty self-explanatory, but it's a situation where a medical provider in some way falls below the standard of care, meaning they did something they shouldn't have done, and you get injured because of it. Those claims are terribly difficult to pursue for a variety of reasons. And I will tell you, it doesn't mean that there aren't claims to be made. It just, you need to understand the difficulties in pursuing those types of claims. So make sure that you're having a conversation with whoever you choose to hire, and they'll walk you through what may be some of the challenges with your potential case. So those are all of our cases. We handle them from inception through resolution. We're with you every step of the way. And in the event that we need to file a lawsuit, you don't change firms, you're staying with us. The reason it may be important to know where your law firm is licensed to practice, again, we're Arizona, Colorado, and California, is because let's say you're in Arizona and pre-COVID, we all got to travel freely, and you go to California to Disneyland with your family. We had an actual case like this recently. You go to California with your family and you get into an accident, which ruins the entire trip to Disneyland, and you're all injured. Well, you come back to Arizona after getting medical care, the emergency medical care you need, and you get that original care, but then you need some initial or follow-up care, post trauma care. And you do that, and all of that care happens in Arizona. So you call an attorney in Arizona and say, I need some help. I was in this accident. Well, California laws are really different than Arizona laws. And if you don't have a law firm that is familiar with those California laws, you could be losing out on your potential recovery or just misunderstanding the law and not doing things properly to have your claim fully resolved to your benefit. Secondarily, if a lawsuit needs to be filed, that attorney that is only licensed in Arizona can't file a lawsuit in California. So it's important to have a law firm that is licensed in the state where your lawsuit may need to occur. Most of the time, it has to occur where the injury occurred. So if you're in Denver, Colorado, and you get injured in Denver, Colorado, but you live in California, you're going to have to file that lawsuit in Denver, Colorado, not in California. And so you want to make sure that you're exploring the law firm that you are hiring and making sure they have the capabilities, the knowledge, and the wherewithal to represent you adequately in the location where your injury occurred. So again, California, Colorado, Arizona, all three. So any combination of the three. If you end up being in a situation where you have an accident in one of those three states, give us a call. We'll kind of talk to you about the differences in the laws between those three states. And then we call ourselves a full service personal injury firm because we handle all different types of cases in the injury arena, and we do litigate those cases. So we're not afraid to file lawsuits, and certainly not afraid to take cases as far as they need to go. And if that means trial, then that means trial to get the proper result for our clients. So that's cases we handle. That is the states where we practice laws. That is this episode of Getting to Know Negretti and Associates. We have one more next week, and then this limited series will conclude. But I hope this has been informative and given you a little bit more information about the types of cases that we handle and where we practice law. Thanks.